Good evening and welcome to ITV News. This is Monday night's calendar.
Good evening. Here are tonight's main stories.
Horror in Headingley. A community in shock as terror police investigate a crossbow and gun attack which left 3 people in hospital.
It easily could have been me or one of my friends or something, so it is quite scary, especially in this area. You don't expect something like that to happen.
I'm live in Headingley tonight with the latest as the government says it's now looking at legislation to tighten the law on crossbow sales.
Also tonight, a teenager admits stabbing 15-year-old Harvey Wilgoose to death at a school in Sheffield when he appeared in court today.
The 15-year-old defendant pleaded guilty to manslaughter but denied murder. All the details from court coming shortly.
It's delirium at Donny as fans and players celebrate Rovers' promotion to League One. That and the rest of the weekend's sport coming up.
And King of the Calls, how 10-year-old Cooper retained his crown as Europe's top gull squawker. But first tonight, counter-terrorism officers are continuing their investigation into an attack on a bustling street in Leeds involving a crossbow and a firearm which left 3 people injured and a community in shock.
It happened on Otley Road in Headingley, a popular pub crawl route for students on Saturday afternoon, prompting a huge response from emergency services.
It's also prompted serious questions to the government over the availability of potentially deadly weapons like crossbows. Amelia Beckett has our top story tonight.
The moment a bystander catches footage of a man carrying what appear to be weapons walking through the streets of Leeds. Moments later, 2 women are shot with what's thought to have been a crossbow in the middle of Headingley on a Saturday afternoon. For those living in the area, many of whom are students, the shock of what happened only just sinking in.
I was just waiting at the bus stop and I saw a bit of a crowd of people, and then a police car arrived. As I was sat there, there was just more and more coming, and they were all just trying to block off the area. Then I got on the bus and carried on, but I think that was the last bus, and then they cut off all the roads. So it easily could have been me or one of my friends or something. So it is quite scary, especially in this area. You don't expect something like that to happen.
The attack happened on Otley Road, where on a Saturday afternoon, thousands are taking part in the popular pub crawl, the Otley Run. The 2 women targeted, aged 19 and 31, were rushed to hospital.
One of those women has since been discharged, but the other has undergone surgery for life-threatening injuries. The key suspect has been arrested, but is in a critical condition in hospital due to a self-inflicted injury.
Counter-terrorism police are now investigating the attack, and it's understood they're looking into Facebook posts made in the hours before. The Deputy Mayor for West Yorkshire, Alison Lowe, is urging people not to speculate.
The content obviously had certain terminology that has meant that counter-terrorism are investigating as to the motivation of this crime. It's not yet been established whether or not this was a terrorist incident, and that's what the investigation is currently seeking to find out. But this was an isolated incident. The key suspect is under arrest, is no longer a threat to that community.
But the use of crossbows here has now led the local MP to call for more limitations on the sale of them.
Well, I'd like to see the government legislate on it. I'd like to see them bring forward effective legislation so weapons like crossbows, like air rifles, can't fall into the hands of people who want to carry out attacks like the terrible attack that happened in my constituency on Saturday.
The government said this is something that they are looking at after yet another attack, which has left a community reeling.
Yeah, shocking events there in Headingley, Amelia. What's the situation tonight?
Well, Laura, you can see it's pretty much back to business as usual here. The police cordon, which stretched right the way down Otley Road, has now been lifted, but we have seen an increased police presence with cars patrolling the streets trying to reassure people this evening. As I said in my piece, this is a large student community that lives here. Many of them will have come back this weekend after going back home for the Easter break, and they tell me they were shocked and scared to hear about what has happened. But police do say they believe it is isolated, a man is under arrest, and counter-terrorism will continue to look into exactly what happened here.
Amelia Beckett there, live with the latest from Headingley Forest. Thank you.
A 15-year-old who stabbed a schoolboy to death with a hunting knife in Sheffield will now go on trial in June. Harvey Wilgoose was killed at his school in the city earlier this year. The teenager who attacked him today denied murder but admitted manslaughter.
Michael Billington was at today's hearing at Sheffield Crown Court. We can join him live now. Michael, what happened there earlier?
Well, Ian, we already knew the seriousness of the charges against the boy who appeared here earlier today. He's accused of the murder of Harvey Wilgoose, but today was the first time that we actually heard him admit being responsible for Harvey's death. At just 15 years old, he's too young for us to name him, but he appeared here today in a white shirt and black trousers, surrounded by 3 security officers. And when he was asked to enter a plea, he said he was not guilty of murder, but admitted manslaughter. He also admitted another charge of possessing a bladed article, namely a knife. Now, of course, all of this relates back to the events of the 3rd of February this year, when Harvey, a 15-year-old avid Sheffield United fan, was stabbed in the heart at All Saints Catholic High School. Despite getting medical treatment at the scene, he died soon after.
So now that the teenager has admitted manslaughter, Michael, what happens next?
Well, he will still go on trial. The judge here today, Jeremy Richardson, told him a jury will decide whether you are guilty or not guilty of the more serious allegation of murder. Now, Harvey's parents were here at court to see all of this play out today. They sat some 20 or so feet away in the public gallery, looking down from a balcony overlooking the courtroom, surrounded by other members of their family.
And in the meantime, of course, Michael, they're continuing their fight, aren't they, the family, for better security in schools?
Yeah, that's right. Harvey's parents have been actively campaigning against knife crime since they lost Harvey back in February. In fact, just weeks after his death, they met the Home Secretary, Yvette Cooper, to discuss their campaign to have knife archers installed in schools. They say they don't want anyone to go through what they have over the past few months, and hope their son is remembered for who he is and not for the manner in which he died. Meanwhile, the boy accused of Harvey's murder will appear here at Sheffield Crown Court again when he goes on trial on June the 30th.
Michael Billington live outside Sheffield Crown Court. Thank you.
You're watching Monday Night's Calendar with Ian White and Laura Rostron, and still to come tonight, Elland Road upgrade. Leeds United release plans for their stadium expansion. That and all the rest of the sport coming up shortly.
And we'll all get to feel some sunshine on our wings over the next few days, with potentially record-breaking temperatures for our part of the world. The weather details are coming up later.
Thank you, Joe. Now, on Thursday, polling stations will be opening their doors in parts of the region, with voters given the chance to head to the ballot box for the biggest major test of public opinion since the general election.
Among the local elections taking place, Derbyshire, Nottinghamshire and Doncaster councils, where the city's mayor is also up. Plus, for the first time, elections for a regional mayor for Hull and East Yorkshire, and another for Greater Lincolnshire.
Party leaders have been hitting the campaign trail for weeks now, and we have been speaking to them when they do.
Well, today not one, but 2 were in our part of the world. The Liberal Democrat leader Ed Davey and the Conservative leader Kemi Badenoch. And our political correspondent Charanpreet Kera has been to see them both.
Hi, he's just going for it.
With just 2 days to go before the polls open, the Liberal Democrats hope they can still make tracks in Hull and East Yorkshire.
I'm feeling really upbeat. I'm going to be mixing that music later because I think we're on for a really good win.
Historically, people who've been fed up of the Conservatives or Labour have gone for the Liberal Democrats.
now, aren't you worried that they'll just go for Reform UK?
I think there's some people who don't want reform, and they realise that only the Liberal Democrats are the ones who can win. You hear people in Dorset who really like what we're saying on things like health and care, and they like we've got real positive policy on the cost of living. For example, today we're talking about buses. Labour has increased the cost of using your bus from £2 to £3. We're saying they're wrong, it should still be at the lower amount, and that for young people there should be a young person's bus card. So we want to make sure that buses are affordable. That's the sort of positive policy we're campaigning on.
Reform's painting itself as the party of the working class, the party of the north. Some voters might think that the Liberal Democrats represent the south and middle class people. What would you say to them? I'd say that Nigel Farage has spent most of his time as a politician in Europe outside the UK, that Nigel Farage is a city financier who's from an elite class. It's Liberal Democrats who are more in touch with the communities. But with Nigel Farage campaigning around the country, polling suggests his party does pose a threat in Hull and East Yorkshire, while Labour is lagging behind. Even if the Prime Minister is trying to resuscitate their chances with his last-minute dash around the country.
OK, so sit in the passenger seat.
This isn't the only mayoralty up for grabs in our region. Visiting a farm in Louth today, Kemi Badenoch said she's hopeful she can steer her party to victory in Lincolnshire's first mayoral election.
I want to see as many councils stay Conservative as possible. I'm not going to put a figure on it, but I am working hard every day to support our councillors.
There are also two mayoralties up for grabs in this region. Your party isn't expected to win either of them, nor is the Labour Party. Does that worry you?
No, it's because just last year we had a historic defeat. It's going to take some time for the Conservative Party to get back on track. When you look at previous oppositions, they didn't come back for 14 years, 13 years, 18 years. I've only been the leader. No, it's not. But given that I've only been the leader for 5 months, I don't think we're going to turn everything around in such a short space of time.
But the Conservatives only have a short space of time before the biggest test of political opinion since last year's general election. And for all parties, the stakes couldn't be higher. Janpreet Khera, ITV News.
Well, the ITV Evening News continues at 6:30. Let's find out what's on the programme. Here's Mary Nightingale.
Coming up on the Evening News, a huge power cut plunges parts of Spain and Portugal into chaos. The blackout has paralysed public transport, caused large traffic jams and delayed flights. We will have the latest. A teenager with a history of speeding and bad driving is sentenced to 2 years detention for killing 3 other teenagers in a catastrophic head-on collision. And how Liverpool will celebrate their Premier League triumph. Do join me for those stories and more at 6:30.
Thank you, Mary. Well, next to the new project in Sheffield, which is aiming to give homeless people in the city a voice, along with a helping hand and a sense of belonging.
The choir with no name was formed to offer a safe place for people to come and sing, socialise and access support and advice. Ben Basin went along to drop in on rehearsals.
In a place of sanctity comes perfect harmony. Sheffield Cathedral has been a safe haven for the most vulnerable for generations. Now it's helping them through the power of song. The choir with no name welcomes anyone who's experienced homelessness for weekly rehearsals.
I grew up in care and I'd experienced homelessness in different forms, like rough sleeping and sofa surfing and things, and struggled a bit with mental health problems, and I just find singing like an outlet. It's kind of a release, because I tend to find that I suppress a lot of things in day-to-day life, and just for those few hours once a week and just leave the problem, your problems, day-to-day issues outside, and just make music.
Don't hold me back. For many members, this is their first taste of singing, but it's about much more than the music. After being homeless in Sheffield, Joyce accessed support from local charities, which led her to the choir. For her, it's been a huge support.
I know that it's somebody I can talk to for if I'm struggling with things, and I've never had that before. It's sort of like a sense of belonging. It's like belonging somewhere that's safe, and do you know what I mean? as if I belong somewhere now, do you know what I mean?
I come down to watch Liverpool choir, and ever since then I've always wanted a new lease of life to, instead of getting mixed up with wrong people, do something for myself which is better for me, get more confidence singing.
The Choir with No Name is a national charity with 6 established groups across the UK. Sheffield, the 7th, is the newest, and it's already proving popular.
From our other choirs around the country, people have said that it's that companionship and that sense of family that's what makes them come back each week. And I think we're already seeing that, even though we're really new. We're getting new members each week. The word is spreading.
With rehearsals gathering pace, the choir is now working towards its first gig next month, and organisers hope with musical accomplishments will come real lasting change. Because for those with sometimes complex and challenging lives, this weekly support group could go a long way to help them find their voice. Ben Mason, ITV News, Sheffield.
Yes, singing is so simple, but it just brings people together, doesn't it?
Sounded great, didn't it?
Gives you a sense of belonging. Time for sport now. Chris is with us. There's big celebrations in Doncaster at the weekend.
There were, Lara, yeah, big celebrations in one part of South Yorkshire, but protests in another. And today, news about a failed bid to buy Sheffield Wednesday.
Xero Accounting Software sponsors ITV Regional Sports Report.
Sheffield Wednesday have confirmed that owner Dafon Chansiri has rejected a bid to buy the club from an American-based consortium. On Saturday, some fans made their feelings known regarding Chansiri's ownership of the club, with protests both inside and outside Hillsborough ahead of Wednesday's game against Portsmouth. The bid has been described by a club spokesperson as derisory.
One to keep an eye on there, Chris. Well, from one fairly unhappy fan base to another overjoyed at the weekend.
Yeah, overjoyed is the word. In Doncaster knew before a ball was even kicked that a victory for them over Bradford would secure their promotion to League One, and despite a late scare, they managed to see the job through. Arif Ahmed was amongst the thick of the action and the celebrations.
Pure, unfiltered joy. Fans and players celebrated together as Doncaster Rovers secured promotion out of League Two.
Just means everything, all the hard work of the season. I'm just buzzing, I'm buzzing.
How does that feel? Unbelievable. Unbelievable, unreal. Best feeling ever, I'll be honest, man. Best feeling ever.
Not the first time we've seen Donny promoted, and I hope it's not the last. It was just amazing.
The task when I joined was to get promotion, and it didn't quite work out the last couple of seasons, and to finally get it over the line is honestly, it's the best feeling ever.
Fans marched onto the Eco Power on Saturday lunchtime, ready for a promotion party. The job was clear. Beat Bradford and Doncaster were up. Rob Street's glancing header gave Rovers the perfect start.
A potentially huge moment in the promotion race.
The Bantams, who were down to 10 men, though, had the chance to spoil the party with a late penalty. Teddy Charmaine-Lowe used every inch of his 6'2" frame to deny Tyreek Wright.
It's saved!
Billy Sharp thought he'd settled all the nerves with this late goal, but Bradford made for a nervy ending with a goal deep into stoppage time. But Rovers held on. Cue champagne celebrations.
How does that feel? Unreal, to be honest. It's been a long season. We've not made it easy for ourselves, but got there in the end, and to do it like that is magical.
Teddy, what a penalty! What a penalty save! Like, just roller coaster emotions. Then last 20 minutes is just like unbelievable. But yeah, it feels just amazing just to be able to celebrate and to do it.
Job's not done yet, though, is it?
No, I've still got to go and win the league at Notts now. But obviously we're promoted, so that there's a weight off the back now, so we can go there and enjoy it and try and win the game and try and win the league.
Everyone knows what Doncaster means to me. I went through a tough time off the field, personal life, and Doncaster were there for me, the fans, the club, and I said at the start of the season when I signed that I had unfinished business here and wanted to repay, you know, what they did for me all them years ago. So to be part of this promotion with these boys, with this club, you know, I'm delighted.
There might be more for Doncaster to celebrate next weekend, as they could go up as champions. Arif Ahmed, ITV News, Doncaster.
Yeah, great scenes down at the Eco Power on Saturday. So that win for Donny keeps them top of League Two going into next weekend's final round of fixtures. So they'll be looking to wrap up the title. And a little further down, well, it gets interesting, doesn't it? With Chesterfield vying with Wimbledon, Salford, Grimsby and Colchester to make the playoffs. On Saturday, Chesterfield put themselves in contention with a 4-1 thrashing of Morecambe. The Spyrites' final game of the season is at Accrington. Best of luck to them. OK, finally from me, already promoted Leeds are in action tonight against Bristol City at Elland Road, which could be getting something of a glow-up in the next few years. Images of Elland Road's proposed redevelopment have been unveiled today. Plans were agreed by the City Council last week to increase the capacity from 37,500 to around 53. Looks good, doesn't it, that?
Yeah.
What do you reckon?
More people will get in.
Well, hopefully. There's a 25,000 waiting list for a season ticket, so they need more people in there.
Thanks, Chris. Now then, finally, if you were watching on Friday, you'll have seen 10-year-old Cooper Wallace from Chesterfield preparing to defend his European gull screeching title and facing competition from his little sister Shelby. Well, this was the pair of them on Friday in their own back garden.
Well, Cooper was on form for his big moment at the weekend. The crowds in Belgium loved him, so how did little Shelby get on?
Well, actually, she did really well and in the end finished fourth. But, well, we hear you ask who took the coveted crown. Well, Cooper does it again. And as well as a medal, Cooper was awarded with a hamper of sweets.
Yeah, well done to both of them. Although I never knew that seagulls actually ate sweets, do they?
No, I thought they were more sort of fond of like chips, isn't it? You know, at the seaside.
Their beaks stick together with a sweet. Who knows?
I've no idea.
He's a human anyway,
I've never
isn't
asked
he?
one, I wouldn't know.
We better go to Joe for the weather forecast.
A clear start makes way for a day of ancient discoveries. TUI sponsors ITV Yorkshire Weather.
Hello, a very good evening to you. A burst of summer ahead this week with temperatures soaring over the next few days. No real rain in the forecast. It remains dry with long spells of very warm sunshine. Pollen levels and UV levels will be high. A fresher feel for all of us from Friday though as a cold front moves through and into the bank holiday weekend looking a little more unsettled. Back to the detail though, we can see those warm hues on the temperature contour sequence over the next couple of days or so. A feed of air from the south, ultimately from Spain, giving us well above average temperatures through the middle part of this week. Very warm conditions for a time. Back to this evening, by no means chilly, but it will be our coolest night of the week. Dry with a few mist patches here and there, and rurally potentially down to around 8 or 9 degrees, very light winds and dry conditions as we start Tuesday across the board. On to tomorrow, the sun will be up at 5:35, setting at 8:33 tomorrow evening. A little bit of mistiness around to start the day tomorrow, dissolving very quickly. It will be a blue sky day with wall-to-wall sunshine. Over the next few days, we will see sea breezes developing along our coastline, but inland with very little wind to speak of. Temperatures will have the potential to reach 24, maybe 25 degrees through tomorrow afternoon. UV levels are climbing, something to bear in mind if you're out and about and fairer skinned, of course. And then over the next few nights, it won't be too chilly at all, and temperatures will be peaking on Wednesday and Thursday. Ballpark figure 25 degrees on both days, perhaps a little warmer in places, before it freshens up from Friday into the weekend, becoming a little more unsettled.
TUI sponsors ITV Yorkshire Weather.
Did you hear what Jo said about tomorrow?
Amazing, absolutely amazing.
Well, she didn't just say amazing. Wall-to-wall sunshine.
I like that. She can come again, can't she?
Music to my ears, is that?
Absolutely brilliant. Shame about the bank holiday weekend. Things getting a little bit... Do you think that's summer? Do you think we've had it?
Don't start saying that. No, of course we haven't. It will be absolutely fine. Thank you so much for watching us. Do join us again tomorrow.
Yes, we'll see you then. Have a good evening, won't you? Good night.
Bye-bye.